What's up everybody, and welcome back to another action figure review. Today we're checking out the McFarlane Toys Redeemer from Spawn. This was once Spawn's arch nemesis and is now one of his companions and teammates in The Scorched. Now before I start talking about this amazing action figure, I do want to bring up the original Redeemer. Well, not the original, but this is the Redeemer statue that came out back in 2004. I love this Redeemer. This is one of my favorite figures in my entire collection. These are more statues. McFarlane Toys had a lot more statues back in the early 2000s, and I really love this one. And you can tell there's some differences in this guy's armor and his sword specifically compared to the new Redeemer that we're gonna check out. So let's get on with it. And of course, we're gonna start things off by checking out the box here. This is a lovely large window box packaging, so we can see Redeemer in all of his beauty and glory, his glimmering, shining armor. I absolutely love it. It's not that shiny, it's actually quite dull. Here is Redeemer. He looks absolutely insanely detailed. On the side panel, we do have a nice product shot on the bottom of the Redeemer here, and that's about it. We have some black feathers, which I absolutely love. Simple packaging from McFarlane Toys as always. And on the back here, we have a wicked product shot of the Redeemer, and that's all it is. It is just the figure itself. That is the packaging. Oh, actually, look at the side of this panel. Look how insane that is. That is a frame from the comic. So there it is. There's the packaging for the Redeemer, everybody. Now let's bust this figure out of here so we can take a closer look and just have fun. Let's play. I'm gonna be going over all the details, the sculpt, the paint application, the articulation, and of course, the accessories. You know the drill, so let's get to it. Let's check out the Redeemer from McFarlane Toys. And here he is, everyone, the Redeemer. How cool is this guy? He looks so awesome. I'm very excited to look at him a little bit closer. I've been messing around with him for quite some time now. He's amazing everywhere you look on this guy. Like, there's no ounce of detail missed here. There is one major flaw with this action figure, and that is, well, it's hard for him to stand. As you can see that I'm struggling beyond belief trying to make him stand, and it's because his wings are absolutely gorgeous. Look how beautiful they are, but damn are they heavy. You can just see his torso fall right back. Even on the stand that is included, it is right now, but you gotta like really mess around with him and get him in that perfect pose, and it's just unfortunate, and I'm not a big fan of it. I have seen lots of people complain about that issue. We're gonna of course take a look at all of his accessories and his details and whatnot. Let's actually, well, he doesn't actually come with any more accessories than the one you see, and that is his amazing looking sword. Check that out. I love how beautiful this sword looks. Lots of detail on it as well. Look at that shimmer. There is a little bend in it, as you can see, but a little bit of steam and hot water ought to fix that up. Now, his wings did come off in the package. I did have to put these in, and it was very tough to put in. And of course, they are now very tough to pull out. There is one major problem I do have with the wings and the articulation. This left wing seems to want to articulate only vertical. Left wing, your right, wants to move horizontal. So it's very bizarre that, you know, that is the way these wings are designed. I've tried to readjust that ball peg in there so that I can actually move and articulate the wing left and right, horizontal, sorry, but I just can't get in there and bend it with my chunky fingers. So one wing is moving up and down and the other wing is moving sideways. So they don't have any articulation in the feathers or anything anyway. So, but now that we're talking about the wings, let's check out how gorgeous they actually are. Look at all those details, guys. Like, McFarlane never misses when it comes down to detail. I cannot believe how incredible it looks. Look at that. And even on the back here, as we can see here, lots of dry brushing on there. That's the way it's supposed to look. The base color is very dark gray, and then they just took a lighter gray, maybe a white, and just dry brushed the hell out of the wings. Looks very good. Very impressed with that. There's texture all over this guy, even on his legs. There's lots of detail here. You can kind of see maybe like a armor padding here. It's not really colored. There's basically only gold and blue on this fella. A little bit of brown on this little pack here with the crosses. But nice color on the blue. There is texture on this blue, believe it or not. It feels like a, I don't want to say denim. I keep saying denim, but there is texture on there. It's not smooth or anything. And that goes for all over Redeemer. Everywhere there's blue, there's that texture. Lots and lots of texture all over this guy. Details. Let's look at the details on his chest. How sick does that look? I'm absolutely in love with all the details on his breastplate and his head. Like, look how amazing that sculpt looks right there. That head sculpt looks beautiful. I love that cross. I just love the look of Redeemer. He's one of the coolest characters I've ever seen in any comic book. I love archangels, blue and gold archangels like Saint Michael. So if there is one character that reminds me of Saint Michael, it's weird, but it's this Redeemer. A little bit of green, I think that's it. Yeah, the sword is pretty gold. A different color, that's okay. It's a little bit more dull on his sword. The body armor, gold, is not as shimmery as I would like, but that's all right. I mean, it's not a big deal. It does look like it's glistening, I guess, when you have a ton of light blasting it. Now, I don't want to skip talking about these legs. I do really love how detailed these legs are and how nicely sculpted they are. Look at that. Very, very cool. The detail right here, very similar to the breastplate. The detail goes all over this Redeemer. Oh yeah, his shoulder blade right here, his shoulder pad. Lots of detail up there. Paint job is phenomenal. As I mentioned, the wings. And one thing missing regarding the paint job is a wash. And it's not going to be hard to apply a wash. I will 100% do that because I think with a little dark brown wash here, all these details are going to pop out like a sore thumb. And that's what you want. Maybe even a little light dry brush on his chest. Anywhere there's nice details sculpted into the armor plating, I think a little bit of inking there with a little light dry brush will really help accentuate those details and that sculpture overall. Again, I love the shape and the style and look of this head. So intimidating. It's very, very Templar-ish, and I really, really love that. Now, I can overlook the problem with the stand and how he's so top-heavy because he does look so awesome. You can see that he's standing here okay because I got him on a weird balance, but like on a side view, look at the angle that I gotta put him on. I gotta thrust his torso forward to counterbalance those wings. Maybe make them not such thick plastic. It's pretty damn thick, you know. I don't think wings need to be that thick, especially up top here. It's quite the chunky piece of plastic here. Now these wrists look innocent and not sharp, but trust me, they are sharp. There is really no other way to grab his wrist to articulate and rotate that ball joint except by grabbing the back of his hand and spiking your finger. The shoulder pads are okay. They're not going to really prod you or anything. The top of his head, quite sharp. Again, it doesn't look like it is, but, you know, you grab his head hard enough and you're going to feel it. But, you know, you can almost grab the side of his head if you want to articulate him and whatnot. There is one thing I don't like on this guy, and I think a lot of toys are starting to do it, and I know a lot of people are in agreement, but this diaper looking thing, not a fan of it. Luckily, on this figure, it looks great. I am a big fan of this one. This kind of does look like it's part of his armor, so I think that's why to me it looks fine, especially over here. But as I just turned on the back, I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty bad in my opinion right there. Can we get him to stand without the base? That is the challenge. I don't think I've actually done that yet. All right, so it doesn't look like he wants to stand without the base. At first I hated the bases. I was never a fan of bases, but again, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing what kind of toys and action figures and display I want. And I do really, in fact, love having bases on toys. I think it just gives it that much more, you know, class, and it just makes it, well, first off, it's easier to stand, and I don't need to use blue tack to stick up and stand up all my action figures. I have the base. It looks great. Love the branding on the base as well, so I'm not going to complain there. It's cool. Oh, you know what? Never mind anything that I said. Scrap that. Now he does have a trigger finger, and I'm not entirely too sure why. He does not come with any guns, nor do I ever recall Redeemer using guns in the comic. Like, I literally cannot recall a point in time where he's used a gun. I really just remember him using his sword for everything and no guns. So there it is, guys. That is the Redeemer. Now let's go ahead and check out all of his articulation. Now we're gonna go ahead and check out the Redeemer's articulation without his wings on his back. I managed to be able to take them off. And just to reiterate, his wings don't have that much articulation. I don't even need to really show you guys. They just flap in and out, and the other one goes up and down, as I mentioned before and showed you guys before. So I don't really need to show you guys the wing articulation on the figure himself. So we're gonna go ahead and just check out the Redeemer and what he can do. Now, this figure is the exact same on both sides, so we only need to check out one side. I always start with the feet. Let's start with the head. That's the first place people go to. So there we go. Just needed a little bit more playtime in there and loosening, but yeah, we can move it up and down quite the fair amount, as you can see, and of course you could rotate it left and right. Let's move down to his shoulders. He's got really good articulation, first off, everywhere on this guy, but really good articulation in the shoulders. You can lift him as high as, well, they can possibly go on a human body, which is fantastic. You can, of course, rotate it. His shoulder blades do not impede any of that movement, which, as you can see, is really nice. You can do really whatever you want with his arm. You can rotate it. Now, he does have a slight rotation in the bicep. It is quite difficult to get my fingers in there to rotate his bicep, but you can see the bicep rotating a little bit and squeaking. You can hear that. He does have a nice double jointed elbow, as you can see here. And if you just extend his arm out, he does have that wrist rocker. So of course you can rotate it all the way. You can move it in and out, and then rotate that ball joint down to his torso. He has amazing torso articulation. Unfortunately, his wings weighed him down so much that it kind of made him overall quite loose. Now, he does have insane rotation in the torso. He has the upper cut right here, so you can rotate the upper pecs, and he does have a lower cut just above the diaper line right here. Diaper line. So you can rotate his waist like so. Really good articulation there. Look at that. He can get some crazy movement, especially if he's flying with those wings. You kind of want him to have that nice curved back. How sick is that going to be with wings, right? So very required for a figure like Redeemer to have that kind of maneuverability in the torso. So perfect articulation there. Now, he does have fantastic articulation in the legs. As you can see, he can do the splits. He can do a nice side kick. Very cool right there. And of course, he does have quite the articulation when he wants to swing his feet forward. And he does have a nice double jointed knee. Very cool. Looks great. And last but not least, he does have the ankle rocker and the toe bend. So just like his wrists, it's the same mechanic. You can rotate that ball any direction you want. Well, you can move his ankle up and down, left and right, whatever you want. That's why it's called an ankle rocker. And this is probably the only thing that I wish he did have was thigh rotation. They could have hit it right behind this little ammo pouch right here. So they could have made a cut right there so you can rotate at least that portion of the leg. Now, same thing goes with his gauntlet. I do wish there was a little cut right behind his glove here so that you can actually rotate his forearm. That would have been really cool, especially because he also has a sword, and it's just the more maneuverability and articulation you have in your arms when you are wielding a sword, the better. You can get better poses for sure. Now, normally I'm not a big articulation guy, but sometimes you can hide articulation very well, and this guy has a lot of hidden potential, and I can't wait to mess around with him some more. But for now, let's go ahead and compare him to other figures on the market. To kick things off, well, you can't have the Redeemer without Spawn. So on the left, we have the McFarlane Toys Spawn from Mortal Kombat 11, and on the right, we have the Storm Collectibles Reptile. And lastly, we have the Black Series Mandalorian on the left, and NECA's TMNT movie Casey Jones on the right. Casey Jones is a 7-inch scale figure, but he is quite small when you're comparing him to the mass of the Redeemer. But if you want to see the difference between the size of a Black Series versus a McFarlane 7-inch, there it is. This Casey Jones is hitting the 7-inch mark, so this Redeemer is quite large, much larger than 7 inches for sure. And of course, Mando is sitting at 6 inches. So overall, what do I think of this Redeemer action figure? Well, come on, I cannot not love this guy. Spawn is one of my favorite comic books, and this is one of the main characters in the franchise, so it's hard for me not to love him. Of course, though, he is not perfect. There are issues with him. Those wings really do weigh him down and basically always make him topple backwards or forward. It is very, very difficult to put this guy, even on the included base, it's hard to stand this guy up just because of the weight of those wings. That being said, that is the only issue I really have with this action figure. His wings may not be practical in a posing sense, but man, do they look absolutely awesome. Everywhere on this figure has detail to the core. I really love his gold breastplate, his shoulder pads, and his greaves. Now, there's not that many colors to him, but that blue and gold is so striking and very vibrant, with incredible dry brushing to make all of those feather details pop right out. This Redeemer articulates extremely well, and you can basically pose him however you like. This is a real joy of an action figure, a standout on your shelf, and I just can't wait to add him to my Spawn shrine and sit him next to my original Redeemer. Alright everyone, thanks for checking out my review of the Redeemer from McFarlane Toys. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like, share it with all your collector friends, comment down below, and let me know if you have this figure and what you like or don't like about it. Let's start a conversation down there, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're into action figure reviews. I'll be posting more photos of the Redeemer on my Instagram, which you can check out at Claudio's Collection, so follow me there for more content. Thanks again for watching, and you can catch me in the next one.